Okay, this is section 8.2. On the first part of that, number 1 through 11 odd, you're just putting points on the graph. When we get to questions 13 through 23, I'm just going to kind of do some things that might help you answer these questions. If you're looking at problem number 13, the point on the positive x-axis, if you look on 13 in the book, this is on page 356. You're looking at that graph on page 356, but the problem's on 357. There looks like there's a point right here. That's the positive x-axis. If you think about the x number line, aren't the positives over here on the right where point E is? The negative axis would be on this part over here that I just kind of highlighted with black. I'm not going to do that, though. Okay, so 15, if you go to 15, it says the points on the vertical line through point Z. Now, a vertical line is a straight up and down line. If you think about a vertical dive, a jet doing a vertical dive, that would be, you'd be diving toward the ground from the sky. So if you look for point Z on the diagram, I'm having a hard time finding it myself. It's over at X is like 9 and Z is at like the point for Z is 9, 9. But if I want the vertical line that goes through Z, the other points on that line would be H. So look at the page while I write these down, H, Y, and L. Here's what I know about that. Since Z, H, Y, and L are all on the same vertical line, they would all have the same X value of 3, because a vertical line tells me the vertical line on a graph, and we're kind of looking at it, it tells me what my X value is. So they all have that same X value. Now let's go to 17, because some of these, you might have trouble with it. Where is the X coordinate 0? So we're looking for points that are 0 something. Now this is something we need to remember. When the X is 0, that's where we find out what Y-intercepts are. One thing, if I had Y as 0, that would tell me my X-intercepts. When you see that word intercept, you're going to hear it a lot more. The word intercept, on an intercept, like if it's an X-intercept or a Y-intercept, the opposite variable is 0. You write that down. That's important to remember, because you're going to be asked for X and Y intercepts, and you might get confused about this. This is one of the reasons I took that off that last quiz. I could tell y'all were confused about this. So this is a big point to get here. If I've got an X of 0, I'm looking for my Y-intercepts. The opposite variable is 0. Since X is my variable, Y-intercept would be what I'm looking for. So the points on the Y-axis for 17 are I, X, the origin 0, and P. So those are the ones that would have that X-coordinate of 0. On number 19, it asks you for the points on the axis 9 units from the origin. 9 units from the origin. Okay, so we're going to look, and the way you're going to think about this is go north, south, east, west, and count 9 and see if you can find the points. If you go up from the origin, straight up, you would get to I. That one's 9 units from the origin. If you're at the origin and you were to walk to the left, you would get J. J is 9 units from the origin. And if you were at the origin, you would go straight down, you get the point P. And so those are the ones, if you would go right, there's no point on 9 out there. There are other, actually, if I wanted to describe all the points that were 9 units from the origin, if I were to find all of them, there's some in between this north, south, east, and west. It would actually make a circle. That's how we define what a circle is, by the way. All right, 21. 21 says the points having equal X and Y coordinates. So you're going to have to, in some ways, what I would do, I think, is go over to the exercise, on the oral exercises, number 1 through 12, and see if I see any there, because they've actually got the coordinates written down, and I don't see any there. This one could take you a little bit longer. Now, the origin is one of them, right, because it's 0, 0. And the only other one that is in there, I know it could take you a long time to look, but point Z, we talked about it earlier, it was 9, 9. It would take a long time to check all those. If it were me, I think what I'd do is it's almost like it would look like if you looked at the origin and then you looked at the point and you drew in the lines to make maybe a rectangle-ish square thing. The things that are actually squares would be ones you'd want to pick. That'd be a quick way to look at it. For instance, if I'm looking at point H, for instance, it's about right here. If I were to try to make this out of it, if the points were the same, you'd end up with all the sides being the same. If you had like 3, 3 or 9, 9 or 0, 0, it could look like a square. But you can tell H looks like a rectangle, so this distance is different from this distance here. So these two distances are different, so that's why I would not say H was 1. So the quick way to find them would be to look at it that way. Now, you would only want to be, since you would either have to be both positive or both negative, you would only find these in a couple of quadrants. Quadrant 1 has the x's are positives and the y's are positives. Over in this quadrant 2 over here, I'll do that one in red, the x's are negative and the y's are positive, so there's no way if it's over in that quadrant you're going to find anything that's equal because they'd have different signs. Down in the third quadrant, I'll do that one in purple. The x's are negatives and the y's are negatives. So if you found some points there that look like they make a square, that's another place. So these two places are the only place we would find them. Over in, I'll do like green, in this quadrant 4 over here, I'll write in quadrant 4 in green. Your x's are positives, but your y's are negatives. So even if the numbers were both like 9, for instance, one would be positive, one would be negative, so they wouldn't be equal. So that's one way you could quickly find those. So number 23, the point in quadrant 4, so that's this quadrant that I labeled in green over here, the point in quadrant 4 nearest the y-axis. Point P isn't technically in quadrant 4, it's on the axis, so we wouldn't count it. The thing that's closest to it, though, is point V. If you look at it, it's really close to that y-axis in that fourth quadrant. The next closest one would be F, but, V is definitely closer.